I like it.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. And today, we're going to have a real interesting conversation about Kevin Hart. Actually, Kevin Hart is in some shit right now. I mean, just being real, he is in some he's having some serious problems, legally and otherwise. Apparently, he is now I'm going to give the abbreviated version for Negroes with short attention spans. He's basically being sued for $60 million by the lady that he apparently had a threesome with, who is actually, according to TMZ, she'd actually promised not to sue. And so this is pretty interesting. This is going to be messy for Kevin, I think, especially given that this brother just had this car accident, which we hope that he heals from. He's got, these back issues and wondering if he's ever going to walk right and stuff like that. But this is interesting. And so, our goal is not to gossip, it's to elevate the discussion, because there's a real conversation to be had about how your personal choices can impact your wealth. And how the rules of the game change as you accumulate more wealth. When you become a Kevin Hart and you're getting into situations, you get sued for things that other people don't get sued for, and that's what it is. So anyway, I want to say I see Latoya. I got to shout out Latoya watching from Guyana. I was in Guyana for a whole semester not too long ago. My fiance had a fellowship there, or where she was teaching there for a semester. She I forgot what it's called. Not a Rhodes Scholarship. It's Fulbright. A Fulbright. Did you know that, Danielle?
I didn't, but Fulbright scholarship is a big deal. I do know that.
Yes, Dr. Alicia, she was the only faculty member in the history of her university to get a Fulbright fellowship. So I was really proud of her. And of course, when I found out she was going to Guyana, I was like, okay, you ain't going by yourself. So when are we going to Guyana? Like we both understood we were going to Guyana. It wasn't going to be just her. But anyway, shout out your city. Shout out the city that you're from. Please shout out your city. Hey, everybody on the Black Love Blueprint Facebook page, please share the city Facebook page if you can. And also, I see, and Danielle, I'm going to shout out, first I'm going to shout out my guest, and then I'll shout out who some of you guys in the chat. I'm speaking with Miss Danielle Pierce. Danielle is CEO and founder of economicelevation.com. She is excellent when it comes to investing, real estate, anything involving money. She can teach pretty much anybody anything as it pertains to wealth and real estate and everything else. And so I'd like to ask my friend Danielle, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty awesome, Dr. Boyce. How about yourself?
I'm probably doing better than Kevin Hart. I'm going to guess I'm doing better than Kevin Hart. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make that guess, because I'm imagining this guy is probably under a lot of pressure right now, and it's kind of crazy. I mean, Kevin has had, almost like it almost looked like a dream career. Like it seemed like Kevin was like making all the right moves and he's in the right position. Things are going well. And not to say that the whole world's come to an end, but anybody remember when Diddy used to say more money, more problems? I think that this applies to Kevin pretty directly. So let's get started. Let me ask you, Danielle, before I read the details of the story, given that Kevin's being sued by the lady that was involved in the threesome with him, what thought kind of went through your head when you first even read about any of this?
Well, to be honest, I think that Kevin Hart should hire and retain the team that Jay-Z has, because Jay-Z's discretion and discretions never seem to get made public. So that's my first thought. I think he needs a better team. I mean, I would assume he has the money for it. I think that if he's going to continue to act in the way that he's been and all that other stuff, then I think he needs better people around him. That's honestly my first thought, because Jay-Z never gets sued by nobody.
You know what I'm gonna say? I believe Jay-Z's getting sued. I just believe that they are doing a good job
Keeping it
of
quiet.
keeping it out of the public eye. I
Okay.
can't imagine Jay-Z not being sued like at least once a week. Because a lot of law, like when you get into the public eye, a lot of people see the lawsuits as these money grabs and these chances to get money for the things that they would not sue regular people for.
Yeah.
You'll hear so so touched my butt and I was traumatized, so they owe me $10 million. Whereas regular people don't really do that, right? You don't sue regular people for touching your butt or for hurting your feelings or whatever. So I'd be willing to bet Jay-Z's getting sued. I just think that they're keeping it out of the public eye. But I'll read some of the details to you so you guys can know what's going on. And actually, before I move on, I want to shout out some of the people in the chat. I saw somebody was actually literally asking me to shout him out, and I'm sorry I missed your name. So I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna give you that shout out. Since you asked for it, I'm gonna give you. I see Annie, hello from South Carolina, Luana from Las Vegas by way of Detroit, Rose Moore from Baltimore. Let's see here, PL Kathy from Charlotte. Hello, Linda Blow, good to see you. Let's see here. I see Natasha Spencer. Hannah says Jay-Z plays the game. G. Hagan says Russell Simmons. Yes, Russell is under a lot of heat for alleged indiscretions in the bedroom. Let's see here. Let's see. Core says indecent proposals never end well. The thumbnail pic does not match the topic. Yeah, that's a YouTube glitch, but we fixed that. Let's see. Okay, Muriel Davis says, "Hola, doctor. Oh, holla." I don't know if that's "Hola" or "Holla at me." Pierce, Brooklyn, New York. Okay, so I gave you a shout out, Pierce. If your name is Pierce or if it's Muriel, either way, you've been shouted out. Marilyn from Detroit, Roderick from Atlanta, Martha from Seattle. I see Oakland. I see a lot of cities in here. Shout out your city, please, and hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. Okay, so let's read some of the details of the story, and then let's kind of analyze this and break it down. We're not gonna get ridiculous and gossipy about it. Let's kind of really learn from this. So I'm gonna read some of these details to you. It says Kevin Hart's sex tape partner claims that Hart conspired with a friend to secretly record their encounter. Now he's suing him for $60 million. Montia Sebag claims in a new lawsuit obtained by TMZ that her 2017 encounter with Hart in a Vegas hotel room was all planned by Hart and JT Jackson, his friend, who later was arrested for extortion. Okay, so I assume he must have been trying to commit extortion against Hart, but that your friends don't extort you. That's confusing. She says Hart was motivated by publicity, the need to get more, especially with an upcoming comedy tour, and that's why he and JT allegedly hid the camera. What do you think about that?
So she's saying that she didn't know that they were being recorded, but she somehow knew that the reason why they did record her is because he needed publicity for his upcoming comedy show. Is that
Yeah,
a good
and
recap?
that's what she's saying, that Kevin Hart needed publicity, and that's why he set it up. That don't even make no damn sense. I don't know. Yes or no, guys? Does that make sense to y'all? That don't make sense to me. I ain't gonna lie. Does that make sense to y'all? Maybe I'm wrong. By
Well,
the
I
way,
don't know.
that's what I
They say that there's no such thing as bad press, right? And I do think that, as we all know, certain topics attract a lot of attention and people tend to they'll go see Kevin Hart and say, let me go see what this dude talking about. Let me just go buy his ticket, and see what he's doing. And they may not have otherwise been thinking about Kevin Hart. And I also think that once you get to a certain level, how can I put it? Because obviously I'm not neither super wealthy nor super famous, but I think that once you get to a certain level, I think that it's very, very difficult to let it go. I think that it's seductive, it's attractive, and basically you just show why would you willingly let that feeling of euphoria go? So I think that some people get to a point where they'll do anything and they'll pay any price to stay there.
Wait, what is seductive and attractive
The
exactly?
fame, the fortune, everybody's talking about you being like that dude or or that chick or what I mean. I think that is very, very difficult to let go of once you get a taste of it. That's just my thought on the outside looking in.
Okay, so you're saying that she's probably suing because she became addicted to the lifestyle of being around Kevin Hart.
No,
Like
I
he
think I think that I mean, I can see why she would say that he did that for publicity, that he publicized, he recorded the sex tape and put it out there for publicity because he has, new stuff coming out and he wants that attention. I could see why, somebody might do that in his position.
You really think I don't think Kevin Hart needs extra publicity though. Like Kevin Hart is doing pretty well. It seems to me like, I mean, I understand somebody who like maybe Kevin before he was famous, but Kevin Hart, I don't know about y'all. I mean, I see Kevin Hart everywhere. He's in every damn movie. He seems to be doing all right without having to put out a sex tape, I would imagine.
I mean, I think so too, but it's kind of like, what's a good example, Dr. Boyce, is when people start getting plastic surgery. And you know how some people just continue to get surgery after surgery after surgery, and everybody else on the outside looking in is like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing to your face?" But the person that's doing it doesn't see it because they feel like, or they still want more surgery. I think that's a good example of it. Like, I think it's crazy to do it, but once you start doing it, I think it's just a slippery slope. I mean, I don't know. That's my take on it.
Interesting. That's an interesting thought. I'm gonna say I kind of think, I mean, I think that's plausible, but I just really don't. It put it this way, it would be hard for me to imagine a married man who's making 30, 40 million a year wanting to put out a sex tape and thinking that that's going to actually elevate his career. I don't think that this negative publicity has been good for Kevin. I don't think. I think that people know you as like you're out here getting freaky while you're married. Getting into all these crazy situations, and you're like you're about like you're literally he's literally one allegation away from being like a little junior Bill Cosby. Like literally one allegation. Like I said, all
Yeah.
somebody gotta say is, he grabbed my titty and I told him he couldn't do it.
Or he
Right?
slipped
That's
me
it.
something. Yeah.
Say it again.
Or he slipped me something.
Or he slipped me. So that's right. I forgot it. You got to throw in the drink too. But now Cuba Gooding Jr. is the guy that got it and had the issue over the. I guess he grabbed the boob or something like that while he was drunk, and he was in handcuffs. Right? Like I don't think. I just kind of feel like I think that this is. I think this almost sounds like a frivolous suit in the sense that it don't even make no damn sense to me. Like
Yeah.
the person who was extorting you with this tape, extorting Kevin Hart, is supposedly the guy that he was conspiring with. That's what she's trying to claim. That don't even make, that just seems weird to me. Like I think, I mean, if y'all are friends, then why would Kevin be like arrest him? He's committed extortion.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff they do don't make sense though, Dr. Voice. I mean, on the outside looking in, like I mean, a lot of the shit is like it literally makes no sense at all. But here we are. Like the fact that I think I was reading somewhere that they have an open marriage or something like that. But that's like the Hollywood, that's the default, right? They say everybody in an open marriage. They say that about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith all the time. But I don't know, maybe that's true because like clearly Kevin Hart, gets it in and he always has. So I don't know. Maybe Oniko, what's her name? Oniko. Maybe she's cool with it. Who knows?
It is a possibility, right? I mean, nowadays, I mean, things have really changed, right? When it comes to relationships, you have people that get married and one of the spouses literally doesn't even like the other gender, like one or both of the spouses are gay. I know of a very prominent couple where that's true, where they're technically both bisexual, but they're more gay than bisexual. And so the man don't even want to sleep with his wife don't want to sleep with him, but they know that marriage and traditional marriage is something that looks good on camera. It's something that that people are going to fall in love with, that the public is going to say, oh, I love that couple, that is such a great couple,
Yeah.
and
Couple that what's the hashtag
such a great.
goals, hashtag black love.
Yeah, and they're just feeding people a bunch of bullshit, and people are going for it, and they just sell that. I remember having a conversation with a couple in LA. They're both him and the wife are both pretty famous. I won't say their name, but I remember we were talking about that. Alicia and I were kind of asking them like, how come nobody knows about your relationship? You guys have been together for a long time and you have a great relationship. And they said no. They said people that want their relationships marketed, they do that deliberately. He was saying we don't market our relationship. We don't need everybody knowing our business, you know.
Oh.
So in a way, like a lot of times it's a facade, you know, it's a facade. And so I think that with Kevin, you know, I think this ties into, also it makes me think about his car accident and how weird that was. Did anybody see how weird Kevin Hart's accident was? How
Um,
did
I
you?
think I saw that he left the scene. Did you
Yeah,
read that?
yeah. So he's in this car crash, and his people come get him and take him. Like the car was all fucked up. Like the whole top of the car is gone. Like you think, good thing Kevin Hart's a little short man, because you have to be for real, because that whole top of that car, I'm sitting thinking somebody got decapitated up in that mug, because the top was gone. Like, and then his people come and get him, and they take him out of the car, leave everybody else in the car, but they take him and they go back to his house. And then 2 hours later,
They
like
call the
after
police.
they done figured out, I guess, how to get their story straight or whatever, 2 hours later, some lady calls 911 and lies and says the accident happened 20 minutes ago, when it didn't. It happened 2 hours ago. And nobody's really talking about that. And I can't help but wonder if, just sort of what the dynamics are. And it almost seems to me that because he's such a high profile person, there's like this extensive effort to kind of maintain a certain public image, but it seems like there's like epic fails all the way around right now.
Yeah,
I
somebody he
can't
keep
help but feel,
fucking up.
yeah, yeah, it seems like he does. Like, I don't see this ending well for him. Do you?
I don't, but I'm just trying to figure out. So then that blows my other theory out of the water, that his wife does know what's going on, right? Because if he was in a car accident and there was some another girl or something there, and his people came to pick him up, and then he goes home and chills, and then calls the police 2 hours later. So then I don't really know what to make of that. So I'm back to your original point that much of the stuff that they do just makes no sense. Like none of that shit makes no sense to me. And especially given the extent of the injuries that they say that he had. So if his back is that damaged, like was he just chilling for 2 hours with back injuries, just at home with an icy hot? Like how did that work?
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I think I think that's going to be the mystery of, in all of this. I mean, I think that, when you kind of watch what's going on, I mean, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense. And it really, kind of, it worries me in the sense that it speaks to, something very sinister kind of happening potentially, that, that could cause him problems in his career. And so, so here's the thing that goes to my mind as well, just in terms of the financial side of things. I think a lot of people don't understand that when you start making money, that your behavior is connected to what happens with your wealth. That, when people know that you're worth, 80, $100 million or whatever, people are going to treat you differently. People are going to look at you different. Like people that get close to you, they're going to want to stay close to you, and they're going to want to stay close to you because of the money, right? Like for example, Antonio Brown right now, who plays for the Patriots. He's in the middle of some shit, possibly because of some things that he chose to do. Who knows? I do think he's a little bit of a knucklehead. But at the same time, it's like you get these weird dynamics, these weird situations where somebody will say, well, he assaulted me 3 times, right? Like Antonio Brown. And a lot of people will be like, well, I mean, it seems like he should have only assaulted you 1 time, because you had to keep coming back to his house for him to assault you 3 different times,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that it's like, at least in the Brown case, you got this sense that this person, because he was rich and famous, she was sort of like, I want something from this, right? I want to come up, right? I want to be connected to something. But it doesn't mean that she wasn't assaulted. Like, I'm not going to say she wasn't. But what do you think about that? I mean, it almost seems to me that having money makes you sticky. Like, people don't, it's not like a regular person where people will be your friend and then you fall out and they don't talk anymore. It's like they're your friend, you fall out, they still want to hang out with you because you're kind of their big opportunity. You're their big break. What do you think?
I definitely think there's some truth to that, but I don't want to get caught up in the whole, like you had used the word sinister beforehand, like oh, like the whole oh, he's about to buy NBC, like people were saying about Bill Cosby. So the man trying to take him down. I mean, at the end of the day, we know the environment, and I just because
Mhm.
you have more money, I don't necessarily think that changes the environment that we all live in. I just think maybe it makes it a little bit harder for you to go to jail and actually, be punished for a crime. But I think that it's still the same shit. So it's a certain way you have to navigate that path. So I think that you still have to take responsibility for your choices and for your actions and for putting yourself in certain types of situations. It's certain situations that Black men can't ever be in, period. So you can't actually do things, and you also can't have the appearance that you're doing some shit either. Like you have to be smarter than that. And for whatever reason, a lot of them are just, not proving themselves to be as
Mhm.
smart as they should be.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. I don't see Kevin Hart as a victim in this. At least not based on what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. I see Kevin Hart as a willing participant. He did choose to make the decisions that he's made. I think that what it is that it seems like sometimes there's a lack of awareness and understanding that when you're in a certain position, certain choices have deeper implications. You're kind of operating in a different kind of social physics than what you normally deal with. And I just say this as a person who, like I guess, after I became a little bit of a public figure, I noticed people started treating me differently. I noticed women really started treating me differently, and fortunately, I don't think I'm a stupid person. I'm not a knucklehead, but I noticed basic things like, like if you meet somebody, you meet a pretty girl and you just want to date for a while, and then it just doesn't work out and you move on. If you're broke, then it's easier to move on than when you're not broke. Like there may literally be somebody in their mind where they really sort of see their connection to you as adding some sort of economic or social capital to their life and be unwilling to let go. Almost like how a man behaves, like if a woman starts having sex with him and he feels like the sex belongs to him. Like ain't nobody else gonna get my stuff, right?
Yeah.
And the woman has to fight the man off to say this never belonged to you in the first place, but he keeps holding on, right? And so you start to see the strange behavior. So I think what I'm saying is I think when you go back to Kevin Hart, he's responsible for his choices, no question about that. But if he were broke, let's just be clear. I don't think if he were broke, I don't think she'd be sold him for 60 million because you're not gonna
Of course not.
right. You're not gonna get 60 million. And I don't think she would be. I don't really know if it doesn't sound like a suit that would be filed if he wasn't a wealthy, famous person.
Absolutely. I mean, you were not going to get no argument from me there, but I was going to add one more point since we're talking about Kevin Hart on this particular live stream. It also could be that maybe to us it looks like Kevin Hart is breaking down and acting a certain way or having a lot of issues in his life right now. But maybe it's just that he's always been this way and it's just now becoming public information. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
I don't think people all of a sudden, just up and decide that, oh, I'm gonna go have a threesome today, while my wife is sitting next to me. I don't think guys make decisions like I think that's just, I think that's how a person has to be already. And then for whatever reason, now we can, talk about the conspiracy stuff. For whatever reason, now somebody is like, okay, spotlight is on your ass, nigga. Like this is it's your time in the sun. And so for whatever reason, now everybody's talking about it. But maybe he's been doing this shit his whole career.
I think that's a possibility. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I would say either possibility, is on the table because it could be a thing like where maybe you're that guy who never had these opportunities and now suddenly the whole world's opened up to you, right?
Yeah.
Or a Tiger Woods, type of thing where, he was the nerdy guy growing up and then now suddenly he's like the man everybody wants. So
Yeah.
he's sleeping with porn stars and all this other crazy stuff.
Right.
Nobody knows, but I definitely think that just from a practical standpoint, if I was giving Kevin advice, I mean, I would probably say, you got to understand how your wealth is connected to the situations that you're in, right? I think that for him, sex is a very risky thing, and I think that we have a culture that teaches men, a lot of men, that if she's pretty, you go for it, right? If she's offering it, you take it, and you're stupid if you don't. And I think that, whether Kevin's a victim or not, we know that there are individuals who will use that weakness against you. Like who was it? I forgot who said it, but she said, yeah, if COINTELPRO, if the COINTELPRO people know that you'll fall for a big button and smile, they'll just put a big button and smile next to you and
Yeah.
get you hemmed up, get you locked down.
Oh, and that works about 99.5% of the time, just to be clear. Like
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. And my goal was always try to be in that 0.5%, and because whatever your weakness is, whatever it is that you desire, people will use that against you,
Mhm.
and it can become very expensive to have these secret little habits. And by the way, let me tell everybody, hello to everybody on Instagram. Instagram is the real Boyce Watkins. I'm speaking with Miss Danielle Pierce from economicelevation.com. We are talking about Kevin Hart and his recent lawsuit. He was just sued for $60 million from a lady who allegedly promised that she would never sue him. It has to do with this whole thing with the threesome and all this stuff. She participated in the threesome with Kevin and claimed that Kevin worked with another guy to record the threesome. But the weird thing is that the guy was accused of extorting Kevin with the videotape. So she's claiming that it wasn't extortion. Apparently, it looks like she's saying that they conspired to do this together, and it just seems like a crazy situation, especially given the situation that he's in right now. Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever we go live on the channel. We go live a lot, so hit the notification bell to make sure you're notified whenever we go live. And also, Danielle is going to be at the All Black National Convention on the weekend of September
Yeah.
27th. Yes, she is. And so Danielle, among so many others that are going to be there, we have so many people: Dr. George C. Frazier, the rapper D1, Sharif Abdul Malik from WeBuyBlack.com, the Royal Mix, the hottest group out of Philadelphia, Dr. Latanja Watkins, who happens to be my sister and a medical doctor. She'll be there. Jade Arundel from Fly Nubian Queen, Willie D from the Ghetto Boys,
Vicky.
Vicky Dillard from Fly Nubian Queen, Nicole Price, leadership expert, attorney Nicole Compton, No Malanga Mushali Moses, Michael Emotep from the African History Network. The list goes on and on and on. This is going to be a great event. So if you want to learn more in Houston,
Yeah.
we're going to just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. Hit the thumbs up button. Okay, so I'm going to read more of this to you, and you tell me if anything jumps out at you, Danielle. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. So Mantia Sabag, she claims in the lawsuit that her 2017 encounter with Hart in a Vegas hotel room was all planned by Hart and JT Jackson, his friend who later was arrested for extortion. She says Hart was motivated by publicity, blah, blah, blah. He wanted to get publicity for his new comedy tour. The suit claims Hart allowed Jackson into the Cosmo Hotel so he could set up the hidden video camera recording devices to capture the liaison. Jackson was later charged with 2 counts of extortion related to alleged efforts to get money out of Hart to keep the tape under wraps. Jackson denied ever extorting the comedian. Hart has repeatedly denied any knowledge of the recording, claiming he too was a victim of Jackson's extortion attempts. You'll recall Hart later apologizing for his infidelity and was adamant nobody would profit off his mistake. Okay, apologizing for his infidelity. Like, we've never seen that in Hollywood before. Somebody apologizing for not being perfect and pure, and as pure as we believe everybody's going to be. TMZ broke the story. Kevin and Sabag got up close and personal while partying at Marquee nightclub in Vegas. Sabag, who back in 2017 said she's a crime victim herself, is suing for intentional infliction of emotional distress and invasion of privacy. Now, here's what's interesting, Danielle. Today, TMZ goes in again. Like, so let's see here. So this story is from this morning, but then later on they said that the sex tape accuser said Kevin was a victim and that she didn't want a penny from him. So it says here that Kevin Hart's sex tape partner, who just filed the $60 million lawsuit against him, said back when the story broke, Kevin, like her, was a victim and that she was not going to sue him. Mantia Sabag stood by attorney Lisa Bloom, who is, I guess she's the daughter of Gloria Allred. And Lisa Bloom, I don't know if you saw, she was in the news recently. Did you see where she was offering to represent Harvey Weinstein?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's real fascinating. Lisa Bloom is her mom is Gloria Allred, and they kind of are involved in all the cases where men are being asked to pay money for whatever happens.
Oh yeah, I know what that attorney is now.
Yeah, so check this out. So there was a memo that was released where Lisa Bloom sent a memo to Harvey Weinstein's people and said, I can defend you. I can basically ruin the credibility of these alleged victims. I know their mindset. I've represented many of them, or many people like them. I know exactly how to tear them down. Like, she does all of this, right? So she's like, I don't believe in none of this shit. I'll just play for whatever side that can get me paid. Yeah. She sent that memo. She put all that in writing. Yeah. So her credibility was hit pretty hard after that. This was very recent. And so let's see. So she said basically that she didn't want a cent from Kevin. Rather, she wanted to hunt down the perpetrator and bring him to justice. Our sources say a subsequent lawyer for Sabag, her third, recently made a secret financial demand for Kevin, asking for low six figures, and Kevin's lawyer rejected it and didn't offer a penny. Now you got to be careful, because I'm gonna tell you, so Daniel, what do you think? I mean, it almost seems like if you reach out to somebody in secret and you say, pay me money or I'm going to file this suit that's going to go public and it's going to make you look very bad, that almost sounds like blackmail or extortion. I mean, isn't that what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's blackmail, but I'm not clear on why Kevin Hart doesn't have these women sign a non-disclosure agreement. Like, does he not have anybody on his team that can put one together? Like, I'm just so confused as to how this continues to happen. What's the end game here? You know what I mean? Like, how can he be this like fiscally irresponsible is the part that I'm just not clear on. I don't get it.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. I'd love to, I'd love to hear more. I guess it's very interesting to observe. And just in case anybody's wondering, the definition of blackmail is the action treated as a criminal offense of demanding payment or another benefit from someone in return for not revealing, compromising, or damaging information about them. So give me a yes or no, guys. Yes or no, yes or no. Does that sound like blackmail to y'all? What she did, does that sound like blackmail? I'm going to say it sounds like blackmail to me. Ashton says, please state your sources. I'm reading from TMZ. That's what, so you can take it for what you think is worth. We're reading from TMZ.
If you go independently research it or something.
I know, right? Yeah, you're welcome to go do your journalistic due diligence and go and fly a helicopter over Kevin's house and research the sources. So I'm gonna read more of this to you, Daniel. I'd like to get your take on this, just as a financial expert, and you're an expert on common sense. So I'd like to get your take on this. So let's see here. So Sabag now has so here you go. So TMZ broke the story. The lawyer who now represents Sabag has filed a $60 million lawsuit against Hart and JT Jackson, Kevin's former friend who was arrested and charged with extortion. So now Sabag has turned on Kevin, saying he knew he was in on it so he could get more publicity. Strange, since even back then, Kevin was one of the biggest movie stars in the world, and the last thing he needed was media attention over cheating. What's more, sources with firsthand knowledge tell TMZ Kevin has been working with the district attorney for 2 years on the case. It seems odd that he'd be so involved if he was secretly one of the perpetrators. As one source put it, quote, Kevin is working with the DA a lot because JT fucked him over. We're told Kevin, who is recovering from horrific injuries as a result of his car crash, will not pay Sabag a penny and there will be no settlement. What are your thoughts, Danielle?
I think it sounds like she wants money and she's desperate at any cost, and that she's willing to. I mean, this is kind of like this was a last ditch effort. That's what it sounds like. Like, okay, ain't nothing else worked. It's been 2 years. This dude keep messing up here in the news. He probably gonna be broke in a few years. Let me just stake my claim now to that fortune and get paid while I can. That's my take on it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a pretty straightforward take. I think just in general, when we talk about, the principles of building wealth, I give people steps and I say, like, okay, one of your first steps should be figure out where the money's at, figure out where money is being made. Number two, figure out a plan to go get that money. Like, how are you going to get your share? Three is execute that plan and rinse and repeat, so you can accumulate wealth. And then once you've accumulated wealth, there's four, which is protecting your wealth. You got to protect it, because once you get money, people are going to try to take it. Like, with athletes and entertainers or anybody, these guys sit on a bunch of money. There's no easier mark than a sloppy, undisciplined person who's sitting on a pile of money. Yes. Whether you're talking about a drunk who's a millionaire. In fact, I remember one time I enjoyed the game of poker, not because I like gambling. Gambling's a good way to lose your money. I don't like gambling, but I like poker because it's a game of strategy, math, and psychology. And so I was sitting there, and I remember I was playing poker one time on this boat, and there was this lady who you could tell she was rich. She had these fancy, like a big old diamond on her finger and this expensive jewelry. And she didn't really care. She was just flinging money around. She was just betting money left and right, no matter what. And just kind of just having fun. And then it was funny because there was another guy who didn't drink at all, but he was just sitting there and he was just playing with her, playing poker against her. And literally by the end of the night, he had gotten thousands of dollars out of this lady by basically fooling her into betting like all this money. And she's laughing off. She didn't care. But he was basically sober and alert and focused and just literally milking her like a cow. And it makes me think about life. Like when you have people that have addictions or weaknesses or they're sloppy about things, you'll have the more focused people sitting around you just waiting to eat you up. Like NBA players, when they don't read their contracts, the little investment advisors will put all these hidden fees in there, and they know that you're not going to read it anyway. You can barely read, or you don't care to read it, so they're going to put all these little fees in there and make sure they're getting the big cut off of you, right? Or if you talk about a Kevin Hart or any guy that likes women, like there are people that look for men who love easy sexual opportunities, and so they'll put that in front of them so they can get money from them, right? There are people always there trying to break you and to get a piece of whatever you got. By basically taking advantage of whatever your weakness happens to be. Or if you're drunk, there was one millionaire who got drunk in a casino and they saw how drunk he was. That's why casinos always serve liquor, because they want people to gamble. Yeah, you know this. Yeah. And he got really drunk and he gambled away like $15 million. And he tried to sue, claiming that, you guys knew I was drunk.
He lost?
I don't know if he won the suit or not. I can try to Google that. But, to me, I didn't feel sorry for his ass. I was like, you were the one that was dumb enough to go up there and get drunk. That's why if people ask me like why I don't drink and why I don't use drugs, that's why. That's why, because I'm a black man. I ain't trying to get caught slipping like that. There's a lot of people in prison for stuff they did while they were drunk or high. People who went broke because of stuff they did while they were drunk or high. If I do something stupid, it's gonna be because I was fully aware of whatever stupid thing I was about to do. I don't want to wake up the next morning and find out I threw my life away, like because I decided I wanted to keep smoking and drinking.
I actually have I have a family member who had one really horrific day of or fun in the beginning, as he thought it was a fun day of doing all type of drugs and being high, and he racked up 13 felonies in one day in Cobb County, Georgia.
Oh no!
Yeah, from that one day.
What felonies were they?
So in a nutshell, it was he didn't have a license, of course. The license was suspended years ago. So it was a police roadblock, which is very common in the South, especially in Georgia. And he kept going through the roadblock, didn't stop. The police started chasing him. He kept going faster and faster. And then he hit a couple of cars as he was trying to get away from the police. He also ran into a police car as well. And then he got out, and he also hit a car with a pregnant lady that was driving as well. Then he got out of the car, he tried to run. And then, he tried to fight one of the police officers. They finally catch him. And so all of that, obstruction of justice, fleeing from arrest, driving on suspended license, prior violating probation. It was 13 felonies in one day. And of course, he blamed, like he was really, really high, like so high that he didn't come to until about almost 2 days later. But then he woke up and came to in jail, and he was looking at 60 years in jail. Yep, just from one day, from one decision.
Oh my God. What did he get? Did they sentence him?
He ended up doing he ended up getting 20 years, so he only had to serve 5 and 15 years of probation is what he ended up getting. So he's still on probation today from one day, literally one day of dumb shit just had that effect on his life. Yep.
Have you talked to him about it? Like, how does he feel about it?
I mean, he's been through a lot. He also has like post-traumatic stress disorder. He's been shot in the face. That was actually before this incident. So I thought that being shot in the face would be like the wake-up call and like the shit, let me turn my life around. That wasn't it. Some people just really literally have to learn things, over and over and over again. So getting shot in the face was not it. So then he had this incident later. So yeah, we talked, but I think he finally get it. But now it's like, honestly, once you get to a point where you finally get things for a lot of brothers, it's literally too late to do anything differently. Like, because you can't get a job nowhere, right? You can't even get certain licenses with that type of background. You can't get a real estate license. You can't, like, it's certain shit, a lot of things that you can't do. So then it becomes a question of, okay, how am I going to navigate this next, 30, 40, 50 years of my life, given the background that I have? And a lot of men that like they can't do anything but do illegal stuff.
Wow. That's real. Sheesh.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry to hear that. Yeah, I think I remember when I used to teach at Syracuse University, and we had a lot of alcoholics, like because drinking was like a sport at that school.
Yeah.
Like it was known as a party school, and I remember just being so mad and going off, on some of the administrators. So I was like, why are y'all encouraging these kids to drink? Like, 'cause there was a faculty advisor for the law school, and all he did, and he was an alcoholic himself. I'd seen him, in action. I'd never seen somebody drink that much. And every single thing that they did, every single gathering, this was for the Black law students, every gathering, it was like happy hour, free drinks, free drinks, free drinks, every time. And I was on the listserv and I kept getting these emails. I said, and I just got pissed. I just sent the email and said, how come every time you gather the students together, it's always around some damn alcohol? I mean, real, you're not helping them when you encourage them to constantly put themselves in compromising situations to make bad choices, right? Because we just live in this society where people don't believe in personal responsibility. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna go out here and just act a damn fool and put myself in a terrible situation, and then I'm gonna blame everybody else. And I think that's what made me a unicorn in a way where I wasn't raised like that. My parents raised me to like the choices you make are the consequences you take. Like that's your shit.
And
And
black
don't
men don't have the luxury of like of second chances either. Like it's not as if the average black man could have could just go out and fuck up, or like the one girl who buried her newborn in the backyard, a 2 week old baby, right? It's not as if that situation would go that way for anybody else other than a college age white girl. So it's like black men don't have the luxury of going out and getting quote unquote a second chance. Like often that second chance never comes, never
no,
comes.
it never comes. Actually, I don't know if I ever told you, but I wrote a book in 2004 called "What If George Bush Were a Black Man?" And that was the whole premise of the book. It was to basically take all these situations, these choices, and statistically compare them. Like if a black man makes these choices and a white man makes these choices, here's how their outcomes differ. I use Bush as an example because he wasn't like a bad person, but he wasn't a good person. He wasn't very hardworking, and he wasn't totally lazy, but he wasn't the hardest working person in the block. He wasn't totally stupid, but he wasn't that smart. So what if you take a black kid who's born poor, who's kind of lazy, breaks the law every now and then, and isn't that smart? What's going to happen to that young man? And statistically, it was interesting just seeing the variation in the outcomes. And the conclusion was that for black males, the margin of error is so thin. And I think that we don't do black men, we do them a disservice when we don't let them know that, right? Like when you don't let them know, like, look, if you lay down with every girl you meet, like eventually you're gonna run into a bad apple, you're gonna run into a bad situation. Or if you don't work hard, if you don't make smart decisions, or if you want to go get high and drunk whenever your friends do, just remember Malcolm X used to say that the white man will sell you the liquor bottle and then he'll lock you up for being drunk. And so ultimately I think it's important to just know this. And I think that's why the Kevin Hart topic is one that we wanted to hit on, not from a salacious standpoint and not to disparage and attack him, but to really talk about it from a life management, wealth management standpoint. Like this is more important than just protecting your money. Like Kevin's going to pay big for this financially, but what's even bigger is you might pay a bigger price than money. You might pay with your life, with your freedom, with your
And your
peace of
career,
mind. What do you say?
and his career in
There you go.
Hollywood.
Your career, your reputation, your marriage. Like there are so many things more valuable than money that you can lose from these choices. And all those things are part of your wealth. Like everything, your freedom, your happiness, your peace of mind. Like that's all part of your wealth. It's not financial, but it's more valuable than money. And when you're not careful, when you don't protect the shit that you got, something can come along and mess it up. And I think for Kevin Hart, I bet you he's feeling pretty low right now because I'm picturing a guy who's laying in the bed wondering if he'll ever walk right again, who's losing millions of dollars in movie deals because he can't even get out of bed, who also is now dealing with, $60 million worth of lawsuits, plus a whole lot of other problems that we probably don't know nothing about. Like, I would not want to be him right now. What do you think?
I agree. The only other thing I would add to that too, Dr. Boyce, is that we talked about how black men don't get second chances and how you can't go out here and mess up and expect society to allow you to redeem yourself. But even when you don't do those things, you still might not get the same outcome. So it's literally a double-edged sword. So even if you do, go to college and you get your degrees and you study and you work hard and you play by the rules, you still may end up, getting caught up in the system in some type of way. And there's not a whole lot that a lot of us can do about it, especially if you are in the system and you don't have any money to get out. Like the case of what's the case going on right now in Dallas where the lady shot the guy in his apartment, and they're saying that she probably is going to get off, the police
Oh,
officer, that she's
is it
probably not going
Botham
to go to jail.
Jean? Is that his name?
Botham Jean. Yeah, they're saying she's probably the city is preparing, and the way it looks like the city is preparing seems to indicate that she's not going to go to jail. So even when you do all the right shit, right, like he did and his mother did, paying for him to come to this, like all of that stuff, then you end up getting shot in your apartment. And that sounds, and I hate to sound like that because sometimes it's so depressing and it's so frustrating, and a lot of times it's hard not to be in a rage all the time. But I mean, I don't really know a solution other than to continue to press forward.
Yeah, yeah, you have to press forward, and I can't say there's a surefire solution, but I definitely learned a long time ago that my solution I wanted to apply it with, especially when I was a young black man, is that I did not behave like other black men around me. I saw the traps. I'm talking about black men I was very close to that mentored me, OGs that I followed, paid attention to. I kept seeing them fall into little traps. Like it was maybe baby mamaism. Like, you sleep with all these women. Next thing you know, you can't pay your child support. I was like, okay, I'm avoiding that trap. What else? Drinking and drugs and alcohol. That's a big problem. I don't know if anybody else got drunk ass uncles or cousins or anything like that. Right? That was another trap. I said, I'm not going that route. I don't drink. I do not go into I go into a liquor store. I feel like a little kid. I feel like I'm not even old enough to be there. And I like that about
Really?
myself. Yeah, I don't need to go get lit like that. I'm not trying to fuck with that. Excuse my French. Or what else did I see with black men? Being in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people, you end up getting shot.
Yeah.
A lot of brothers done died in the club. Like I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to die in the club. I'm not gonna go there and get shot because I stepped on somebody's shoe. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, and then of course you go into other things, whether it's, the drug game, or even being involved or being connected to someone who was involved, right? Because, I was
Yeah.
coming up in the 80s and 90s where it was easy to get caught in that because that was big at that time, very big, and or other little, the minor traps, like the lack of education trap. I saw a lot of men that didn't have options because they didn't take their education seriously. I said, I'm avoid that trap, right? And now in hindsight, I wish I'd also known that you also have like the employment trap where black men get
Yes.
caught looking for jobs and begging somebody to hire them. And I didn't know this back then, but if I'd known about it, I would have avoided that trap. I would have become an entrepreneur so I could pay my own bills, right? So I think that there's a way for black men to navigate with some reasonable chance of success, but the problem is this is not standard training. This is not something that is taught in a public school or anywhere else, because they teach these poor boys that if you just do what white people do, you're going to be okay. And it just don't work like that.
It
Like
never
you ain't
works
white.
like that.
You ain't white. So Danielle, let me ask you this. So, and by the way, I want everybody to know I'm talking to Danielle Pierce from economicelevation.com. That's her website, economicelevation.com. Somebody please type that in the chat. We were talking about Kevin Hart and his big lawsuit. He's being sued for $60 million by the lady he was in the threesome with. But also this leads to deeper conversations about how your choices, especially when you're a black man, how these choices can affect your wealth level. Same thing for black women, though. A lot of black women losing all kinds of money and from all kinds of weird situations, relationships or whatever. We can
Yes.
talk about that too.
Yes.
And everybody, if you're watching, please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button. If you haven't hit the notification bell, if you're on the YouTube channel, hit the notification bell. You'll be notified whenever we go live on the channel. So make sure you hit the notification bell. It's very important. Also, I'm going to show you guys Danielle, as I mentioned earlier, she's coming to the All Black National Convention, which is in Houston, the weekend of September 27th. And you can kind of see here some of the other, if you go to allblacknationalconvention.com, you can see all the other great guests that are going to be there. George C.
Yeah.
Frazier, the networking guru. There, I see Danielle right there. There you go. Very nice. I love the baby blue. And this is the Royal Mix. They're going to perform. And these little girls, they're like the new TLC. Like they are so good, so talented, and you're gonna love them. Like they're incredibly good. We have my sister, Dr. Latanja Watkins, my brother, Lawrence Watkins, who's the vice president, or the president of our company, actually. I'm sorry, president of our company, who's going to be there. Willie D, Vicky Dillard, Jade Arundel, and you can see a lot of other people, attorney Nicole Price. And so there's a lot of them, Dr. Ron Daniels, Michael Imhotep. Julian Gordon, who's a business and real estate expert. So a lot of great people are going to be there. So if you want to learn more, go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. So
Let
let me
me
ask you, oh, go ahead,
Oh,
please.
go ahead. Okay. I was going to say one thing, and I wanted to say this publicly because I don't think that you get nearly enough credit for the work that you've put in over the years. I think that like even just the All Black National Convention, outside of the traveling and the other stops that you do and the other speaking engagements, I think it is so phenomenal and so mind blowing. And you put it all together, you make it look effortless and seamless, and it's just so fucking amazing. Like it really is. You're like this genius, like, and it's like, how do you get so much? I know you have a team, obviously, but you get so much done, and you have. I tell people all the time that a lot of people ask for mentorship, and they want somebody to mentor them, and like, oh, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? And I tell people all the time that mentors come when you're ready, because a good mentor is actually somebody that can change your life, but it's going to be very, very uncomfortable. And so you stepped into that role, and with no, I ain't paying you no money. Like, I'm not paying you. You've never asked for anybody. And it's been like, I've learned so much, like legitimately. And I just wanted to say thank you for that, because there was no logical reason for you to, like, I mean, for you to even do it. Like, I'm not, the return on my end is like 10 times what it is on your end. So I'm grateful.
Well, I appreciate those kind words. Thank you very much. I humbly accept them, and I can't, as you mentioned, I mean, I can't take credit for all of this. I mean, without a team, you can't get nothing done. Shit can't move without a good team, and also, I will say that, part of the reason I started working with you, that I love working with you, is because you were on your stuff, like you, it's hard, like you can't put perfume in a bowl on a pile of shit and make it into like a chicken salad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you, when you came through, I saw your talent. Like I saw how well you communicate. You present yourself well, you're likable. And here's the most important part. And I think it's really good to have this, conversation openly. The best thing about working with you is that you are easy to work with. You're professional. Like Danielle, I'm just gonna tell y'all, Danielle is professional as shit, more professional than me. I try, but I was like the ADHD kid in elementary school. But Danielle is really really on point. I mean, and I think that and so when you have people that are on point and also that just know how to maintain good business relationships, like you can do so many great things together. That's why I will tell everybody, if you ever want to, really do well and form great relationships and prosper, be a good partner to other people, because you get some people that, they maybe it works for a while and then something goes wrong, and then it's like, oh, you screwed me and I'm mad at you and blah, 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 blah. And next thing you know, everything blows up. And then next, everybody loses. It's like when a family falls apart. When a family breaks up, the mother loses, the father loses, the kids lose, and it's better if you have two, partners that come together, or whatever the situation is, where they're working to build something and maintain something and protect something, right? And so I like to work with people like that, because I don't, I just really believe, like, in general, all of us do better when we have an economic family, and I'm really happy that you're part of my economic family, because at the end of the day, we're all Black people trying to help each other survive, and so I think every day, for those who want to be successful in the world, I would encourage you, wake up every day figuring out how you can be helpful to other people. And if you apply that consistently, then your blessings will always come back to you. Like,
Yes.
you're gonna have people that have your back just like you have theirs, and it becomes great. So thank you for saying that, and I appreciate everybody for hearing that out. I hope that wasn't too long-winded. But everybody, if you want to check out Danielle's website, Danielle talks a lot about everything involving making money. You have a great program on was it 1,000 ways to make an extra? What is it
Uh,
again? 100 ways to make the extra $1,000 a
it's
month?
30 ways to make an extra $1,000.
Oh, 30 ways. Okay, sorry, I get it
Yeah.
wrong. I got it
It's
wrong.
probably a little bit more, but I just 30 was a nice round even number. And the people have been, I send you some of the messages, but I get a lot of feedback on it from people, and it's working. I'm just like, yes, that's it. Just to apply it. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, okay. So she's got, I know you teach, so you teach, you have 30 ways that people can make an extra $1,000 a month. You also teach people about tax liens and things
I
like
do.
that, how to make money in the real estate market, which I think is really important, because, as the recession's coming, there are a lot of people trying to figure out how do you navigate that. Like I know, for example, one thing I've been doing is because I do think that there is a chance that stocks could really correct in the next year or two. I've actually moved some of my stocks over to real estate, but then it goes even deeper than that. One of the things I did read, I've read in terms of my research is that it's better to have cash available for the real estate market in case there is a downturn, because the people who have cash tend to be, king or queen of that market in terms of
Yes.
getting opportunities, things like that. What do you think about that?
I think that that is phenomenal advice. And you know what? And we don't probably have time to talk about it right now, but there's this big scandal going on in Indiana at the tax sale, and basically the gist of it is that there's a guy who's already delinquent on property taxes, um, which means you're not supposed to be able to bid at the auction. Anyway, he's working with an LLC. Again, he's not supposed to be doing that, and they acquired 550 tax lien certificates at about $272,000. And one of the partners in the LLC is an attorney for the city of Gary, and he's a consultant for the casino that's about to be built in Gary as well. So all the certificates they acquired were either by the university, Indiana University, or they were by the casino. So they basically took insider information and went to the auction and cleaned up. And yeah, and so if you Google it, you'll see this huge scandal happen. And of course, the attorney is a brother. So they all on his ass right now. They all are like he literally has his hands in all these pots, and he works for the city. So he has all this knowledge the general public doesn't have. And he's out, I mean, and they execute on, so they're trying to block the transfer of those certificates. But I don't know if that's gonna happen. That court date is September the 26th. So yeah.
You know what? When you get some time, I'd like to bring you back in, and maybe we can break that story down on the Black Financial Channel as well.
Yeah.
Because I think that people should know about that. It sounds like he might go to jail. What do you think?
He may go to jail, because he's black, right? I hate to stop. I hate
Yeah,
to be so
when you
skeptical.
black, like jail is their first option. It seems
Yeah.
like.
But because the white guy, they've known about him doing this stuff for years. Like he just literally like will set up another LLC, come back, do the same thing, and and keep going and going and going. But the brother, it's all over in the papers now in Indiana. So yeah, he probably will do some time.
Wow, I heard a guy one time describe racism like this. He said, he said, it's like on your job, and if the Coke machine's broken and everybody can bang the Coke machine and get a free Coke, like everybody will just do it for years. And then one day when the black man bangs the Coke machine and gets a free Coke, they're like, we got to fix that machine.
Yeah, yeah, it's real. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, I look forward to. I'd like for you to come back and talk about that at some point, because I'd like to
Okay.
kind of analyze that and break that down. Because it sounds like, I mean, maybe there's not a law in the books, but I can't imagine somebody being able to trade on inside information in that way. Because it makes you lose faith in the market. Like, who
Yes.
wants to trade in a market where you got people just cheating like that?
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting. But anyway, I'll give you my final words on Kevin Hart, and then you can give me your final words. But
Okay.
my prediction, maybe you can give me your prediction. My prediction on Kevin Hart is that this could be the beginning of the end for him. I think that this back injury is gonna mess him up. Like in movie, when you do movie roles, you gotta run, you gotta jump, all that stuff. I don't see him being able to do that, because I don't know if you saw that car. That car was jacked up. Did you see that car?
I did.
The car was
I
all
did.
fucked up. I believe Kevin is really, really hurt. I don't think he's gonna come back from that. But then also, I think all these scandals, in addition to that, I wouldn't be surprised if that, sort of conjoins with his pre-existing issue, as far as the injury, and makes him just kind of like not as bankable, because Hollywood's all about whether they can bank you. Can they put you in a movie and make money, make more money than they spent? I think he loses that golden boy status. Well, golden man status. I only say golden boy, but I think he loses that status with all this stuff kind of coming in. What do you think?
I think he loses that status, and I think that he loses a lot of money in the process. And I think he may end up being another example of how what we consider to be a lot of money is not really that much money in terms of Hollywood or the elite, as they call it. Because I think he's worth, you say 80 or $100 million or something like that. Depending upon his lifestyle, that money can go really, really fast, especially with one lawsuit worth $60 million. Obviously, he's probably not going to collect $60 million, but it goes to show you that, like, you can't. I don't know what the amount of money you have. I think you need a lot more money than what we think to be immune to the ills that happen in Hollywood, and especially if you have if you're prone to do stupid shit like it seems Kevin Hart is. I think you need to acquire a lot more money. Like the people that in the upper echelon or whatever, like they have, I put it this way, they have money for like the next 5 or 6 generations. And most of us, we start acting a fool when we get money for the current generation. You know what I mean? So I think
Mhm.
that he needs, I think it'll definitely be an eye-opening experience for him.
Well, if you want to know the details, I did a quick Google on Kevin Hart's net worth. He, according to Celebrity Net Worth, he's worth about 150 million. According to menshealth.com, he made $57 million last year. So you're talking about a guy who's hauling in about $5 million a month, an insane amount of money. And I think that a lot of money is going to be lost from this whole incident. And also by the Hollywood studios, because he's probably got all these projects in the works and everything else. And I feel bad. I feel bad for him. I think the brother's gonna have a hard time. And I wouldn't wish this on anybody. It's definitely a lesson. But then again, Hollywood makes black men crazy anyway. So ain't no
That's a whole
telling.
nother topic, right?
Yeah, ain't no telling what's been going on. I mean, you get that kind of money, you start getting into crazy stuff. People blackmailing you and feeding into whatever it is that you like, so they can hold that against you. Like Jeffrey Epstein. My theory on Epstein was that Epstein was an agent for blackmail. I believe Epstein was based on everything I read. My subconscious tells me that Epstein was probably connected to the Israeli government, and he was sort of positioned as this billionaire playboy who immediately befriended the rich and famous, because everybody wants to be a friend when you're rich. They don't even ask no questions. And he was blackmailing people by getting them to get in bed with these women and videotaping everything. And he kept meticulous notes on everything. And I think that's why he also died, because it's fascinating how right when he died, I listened. I remember I studied. I was hearing a New York Times podcast where a legal expert was explaining like what happens to your case when you die, and they said it's all gonna get shut down. Like none of the names will be revealed, none of that shit. So you can't tell me they didn't go in and off his ass because they didn't want to blow the cover on what they had going on. I believe he was there for blackmail. That's my 2 cents.
Wow.
Yeah, so there you go. So there's my conspiracy theory on Epstein. All right, so everybody, please make sure you go support Danielle's website. Go take a look at economicelevation.com. That's economicelevation.com. Danielle is a very smart lady, excellent teacher. She knows all about real estate and investing and ways to make extra money. Side hustle money is a great way to take those steps to getting off the corporate plantation. Also, don't forget, All Black National Convention happens the weekend of September 27th. Danielle will be there along with lots of other great people. So if you're interested, go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. So you can meet Danielle in person at the convention. Last but not least, please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Hit that bell now so you'll be notified whenever we go live. That's very, very important so that we can hit you up whenever we go live. If you're not on drboycetv.com, just go to drboycetv.com and hit the notification bell and subscribe so that you can follow everything we do on the channel. So take care, Danielle. I appreciate all your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Boyce. Goodbye, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.